obeisances to the devotees, that act will bring success to my efforts. I offer respectful obeisance to the worshipful deity, Lord Nityananda Rai, by whose mercy the glory of Lord Chaitanya is manifest in this world. With 1,000 mouths, I offer respectful obeisance to Lord Balaram, whose 1,000 mouths are the home of Lord Krishna's glories. So we find in this, what we have been reading, that in this most important two biographies of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that there is that this high-powered Vaishnavas begin their works by first surrendering their lives with humility and devotion at the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas. Then they offer their obeisance to the spiritual masters, and then to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Supreme Lord can only be understood by His own mercy, and there is no other way to understand the Supreme Lord, only by His mercy. Lord Brahma, who is the creator of this universe, who is the original personality within the universe, and the original spiritual master within the universe, he was born from the abdomen of Lord Vishnu upon a beautiful lotus flower, and on that lotus flower he was bewildered. At the beginning of creation, he was bewildered, and with all his intelligence, his and all his great powers he endeavored to understand who he was and where he was and what was he supposed to do, and what was the goal of life. Can you imagine and what was the goal of life? Can you imagine you're born and you're in somewhere and there's nobody around you? You have to figure out what's the whole purpose of your life. So Lord Brahma was in that situation. But Krishna, he did not reveal anything to Lord Brahma. He didn't reveal anything to him. And Lord Brahma, he went down the stem of the lotus where he was born. He was searching and he was searching. And when he saw the great waves of the Garbhodaga ocean, he became very fearful. And he climbed back up to the top of the lotus in a bewildered state. But because he had a great desire in his heart, the Lord, he reciprocated and gave him the instruction that he should form tapasya, austerities. He heard the sound tapah, and with his intelligence he understood. So I had to do tapasya, austerities. So by performing austerities, Lord Brahma, he pleased Krishna. But tapasya, we cannot understand Krishna by tapasya, who he is. It is only by pleasing Krishna that we can understand. But because Krishna was pleased by Lord Brahma's tapasya, then Krishna revealed himself. By his own sweet will, he then revealed himself. And same way, when he's pleased with us individually, he will reveal himself also to us. And there is no other way. We only have to somehow be able to please Krishna, and that way we will understand Krishna. We will not understand Krishna by studying all the great scriptures of the whole universe, not by giving heaps and heaps of charity donations, not by chanting millions and billions of mantras, not by performing the greatest of the austerities, not by worshipping the deities with most precision, punctuality, and cleanliness. It is only by the mercy of the Lord that when He reveals Himself that we can understand His inconceivable transcendental nature. Therefore, the path of bhakti is the supreme of all spiritual paths, because it is the only method by which we can please Krishna, by that way attract His mercy. There is no other way. There's no other way to please Krishna, only by devotional service. And the path of bhakti, devotion, that begins by understanding the eternal truth of how the Lord's devotees are more dear to Him than His own life. Mad bhakta puja vyadika. Service to my devotees is more dear to me than service to me. By serving the devotees and pleasing the devotees, and the chief of all the devotees is the spiritual master, When spiritual master is satisfied, Yasha Prasada Bhagava Prasadam, Yasha Prasada Nagati Kutopi, then Krishna is satisfied. We sing this every morning in the temples. 4:30 in the morning, we sing this song. So what is pleasing the spiritual master? When he sees that we become the servants of the servants of the servants of the Lord, he is pleased. So Prabhupada explained that you can show your love for me by how much you cooperate unitedly to serve the great mission of the Lord and show compassion to fallen conditioned souls. This is the only means by which we can please Krishna. We can go to the holy Dham, we can study the very highest literatures describing the conjugal loving affairs of Radha and Krishna. We can somehow or other come to the emotional stage where we are weeping, we might be crying and trembling and rolling on the ground. We can constantly be engrossed in such subject matters, but through this process we can never understand what Krishna is. It is only by pleasing Krishna and pleasing his servants that he will reveal himself to us. Srila Prabhupada makes it very clear how we can please him. Do you want to hear what he has given us? So he has given the instruction, you be the servant of the servant. You remain united. You push forward this great mission of giving Lord Chaitanya's mercy to the fallen souls. You come together and sincerely chant the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we come together, now we do it virtually. In better times we do it here at the temple in a live form. Waiting for that, soon we can do that again. So we should chant at least 16 rounds of the Hare Krishna mantra every day, attentively, and we follow these 4 regulative principles of freedom, work together in the mood of humility and dedication to the mission of Guru and Gauranga. In this way, the inconceivable personality of Godhead, he will reveal himself to us by his own sweet will. One day he'll just say, here I am, and you will be knocked out by ecstasy. Someday it will happen. Although these pastimes of the Lord, they are very difficult to understand, Krishna here appears within this world, and in the Bhagavad Gita he explains the reason. In the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 7th to 9th verses, he's saying, Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuttanam madharmasya tadvat bharata abhyuttanam madharmasya tadvatmanam sujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya sadhusmanam sujamyaham paritranaya sadhunam vinasaya sadhuskritam dharma samsthapanarthaya samvami yuge janma karma chame divyam evam yavati tattvataha chaktvadeham punam janma naitimam meti sorjunaha. Lord Krishna is saying, wherever there is a decline in religious practice or descendant of Bharata and a predominant rise of irreligion, at that time I descend myself to deliver the pious and to annihilate the miscreants, as well as to re-establish the principles of religion. I myself appear millennium after millennium. One who knows the transnature of my appearance and activities does not, upon leaving his body, take his birth again in this material world, but attains my eternal abode, O Arjuna. So in this age, every age actually, the Lord appears simply to teach us the purest, truest path of transcendental knowledge. We have read Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami's explanation. I just read how there were 3 internal and 3 external reasons why Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears in this world. Then there's 3 the 3 internal reasons why was that Krishna in his own heart wanted to experience the love of Srimati Radharani and the happiness she derived by serving him, by loving him. And what it was about himself that brought about such ecstatic supreme emotions in the heart of Srimati Radharani. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is Vrajendra Nandana Kumar, who resides eternally in the topmost of Vaikuntha planets, Krishna Loka, decided that he would give the love of Vrindavan. He would give the love of Srimati Radharani, the supreme of all devotees, to everyone. He would give it freely and profusely in this material world by the simple and sublime process of the congregational chanting of the holy names of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. At the same time, there was the time of the Yuga Avatar. So, the original personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna, made his plans to descend into this material world. We will have a drama about this also coming just at 3 o'clock, so stay tuned. First, he sent many of his eternal associates and devotees to prepare the way. He sent Madhava Puri, which is the very root of the tree of pure devotional service. And then he sent Ishvara Puri and Pundarik Vijayanidhi. He sent Advaitacharya, Chandrasekharacharya. He sent Murari Gupta. He sent the 4 brothers, Srivas, Sriram, Srinidhi, Sripati. He sent Haridas Thakur here to this material world, Paramananda Puri, Keshava Bharati, and then he sent a very special and exalted associate of the name Upendra Mishra, who was from the village of Srihatta. Upendra Mishra had 7 illustrious sons. The 5th of these sons was named Jagannath Mishra. This Jagannath Mishra made his residence in the village of Navadvip in order to live on the banks of the holy river Ganges. He was married to the very mother of the universe, Sachi Devi, who was the daughter of the greatest of all the Brahmins at the time, Shilanilambara Chakravarti. So Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi, they lived together in the holy land of Navadvip. And we should understand the situation at Navadvip at that time. Lord Brahma could understand that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was going to descend to the material world. Therefore, he personally arranged for Navadvip to be so much, there was so much opulence and incredible riches and beauty in Navadvip. Like no place else in the world. Goddess Saraswati, as a servant of the Lord, by her grace, she sent hundreds and thousands and millions of great scholars from all over the world to reside in Navadvip. But unfortunately, due to the influence of the age of Kali Yuga, Navadvip was filled with materialism. People were so happy and content, living in their great riches with their big degrees of learning, that they became so intoxicated by false pride, prestige, and facilities and sense gratification that practically nowhere there could be found anyone trying to give up material life and taking shelter in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The whole town was filled with people performing rituals to various demigods, making offerings for the material sense gratification. There were big, elaborate pujas to Goddess Durga for material life, and others were worshipping Manasi Devi, the goddess of the serpents. People would spend lavishly huge sums of money for such useless affairs as weddings and marriage of children. This is Vrindavan Das Thakur is saying this. They would spend huge amounts of money just to all sorts of materialistic ways of entertainment. People were very intoxicated by material life. People would sometimes offer animals and blood for the various devatas, demigods. And although they were Chakravartis, Mishras, and Bhattacharyas, the highest categories of learned scholars, and there were recitation of Bhagavatam, Upanishads, and scriptures everywhere, nowhere could be found one mention of the word bhakti. Nowhere was there heard the kirtan of the holy name of Krishna. Nowhere, nobody was chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nobody had any interest in Harikatha, the beautiful narrations of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. People were simply infatuated and intoxicated by material existence. This broke the hearts of the devotees. Materialistic people actually, when they see other people enjoying, they think, oh, that is very nice. They are enjoying very nicely. But when a devotee of the Lord who is actually situated in the highest truth, he sees someone wallowing in opulence, wealth, and high learning, and big families, then that devotee simply weeps, pitying that person for his condemned condition. And forgetting his eternal treasure of love of Krishna, without Krishna consciousness, this whole world is simply a dreary void. Sunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahe name. This is Lord Chaitanya's Shikshastakam prayers. So the leader of all devotees at the time was Advaita Acharya. He was the avatar of Mahavishnu. Simultaneously within his body was the original Sadashiva Mahadev, the destroyer of everything, Vaishnavanam Yata Shambhu. Advaita Acharya's heart was burning and weeping to see the condition of the people of this world in Kali Yuga. And the four brothers, Srivas Pandit, Sri Ram, Sri Nidhi, Sri Pati, at their houses, they were constantly having Hari Kirtan and Hari Katha. The people of Navadvip, they hated this Kirtan. It was such a disturbance to them. They are keeping us up all night with this loud chanting. We need good sleep. Why do we need sleep? So that we have full energy to make money, so that we can enjoy more and more and more. Why they are having this disturbance every night? And this Srivas and his brothers, they become so mad and they become so crazy that they're chanting out loudly. Why can't they chant silently? Chanting loudly, they will wake up Mahavishnu, who is in his yoga sleep, and he will become angry and he will destroy the whole universe. And what about the Muslim kings? When he hears that the Hindus are chanting the names of God out loudly, he will come with his soldiers and arrest us all and plunder and kill us. So before this happens, we should kick this Shivas and his family out of Navadvip. We should break his house into pieces and throw it into the Ganges. We cannot tolerate this. So every day, all the devotees, they would assemble at Advaita Acharya's house. Everywhere around, so materialism and ignorance, no devotion to God. Therefore, they would take shelter of Advaita Acharya's house. And in that place, they performed exclusively three activities. They worshipped Krishna, they talked about Krishna, and they loudly chanted the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada explains in this regard that there are only three businesses. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada explains in this regard that there are only three businesses that this Krishna consciousness movement has to do. Nothing else. The Krishna consciousness movement is based on these principles only. Talking about Krishna, worshipping Krishna, and spreading the glories of the chanting of the holy names of Krishna. That's the mission of this Hare Krishna movement. And if we as devotees, we remain faithful to these principles, nothing can obstruct progress of this movement. This movement will not spread because of good management. This movement will not spread because of beautiful, nice, lavish temples. This movement will not spread by any other means than the devotees keeping their lives dedicated to these three principles and not allowing anyone to divert our attention from that. By discussing the glories of Krishna and worshipping Krishna and by chanting the holy names of Krishna, Srila Prabhupada's books simply bring us to this point. Therefore, it's so important to read Srila Prabhupada's books all the time. When we distribute Srila Prabhupada's books, we are teaching the whole world these three principles. Hari Katha, Hari Puja, and Hari Kirtana. But devotees, they are never satisfied simply by their own ecstasy. Why? Paradukha dukhi, because devotees, they suffer when they see others suffering. Any gentleman, if he sees somebody walking in the dark and there's a big cliff coming and he knows that he's going to fall off the cliff in a moment, he will try to stop him if he's a gentleman. So therefore devotees, because they are compassionate, they're always trying to expand the Hare Krishna movement by bringing people to understand that they should, other people, what is at stake in this life. If you miss this opportunity to become a devotee, who knows where you will take birth next life. It's such a dangerous position if you don't take seriously Krishna consciousness. And now we have the opportunity, we have association of devotees, we have come together, we have this opportunity, we should not waste this opportunity in some trivial issues, thinking some disagreements or something silly. This Krishna consciousness is more valuable than that. We should understand the value of this Krishna consciousness. There's a saying that when materialistic people, they give benedictions, there's a Bengali saying that, may your family expand. Bigger and bigger family. May your family get bigger and bigger and bigger. That's a blessing in Bengal. But Srivas Thakur, he also used this benediction talking about the Vaishnava family, not the seminal family, but the spiritual family. May the family of Vaishnavas get bigger and bigger and bigger. That way, more and more people can come out of the suffering and birth and death and experience love for Krishna. So the devotees were very unhappy hearing insults and blasphemies constantly. They were criticized all the time in Navadvip because there's so materialistic people there. And thus, Sri Advaita Acharya, he made a vow. He made a vow. His vow was that by his prayers, he will bring the Supreme Lord Krishna down to this earth to deliver everyone by spreading the Sankirtan movement. Sri Advaita Acharya began to fast, and throughout the day in Navadvip Dham, on the bank of the Ganges rivers, and sometimes in Shantipur, he will worship the Supreme Personality Godhead with tulsi and Ganges water. And with tears of love of Krishna, tears of love of God, and tears of compassion for the souls, all souls in the material world, profusely flowing from his beautiful lotus eyes, and his limbs were trembling, he would call out. He will call out for the Lord to appear in this world and give his mercy freely to everyone. And as he was crying out loud for Krishna to appear, he cried with such devotion that his voice penetrated all the layers of material existence. His voice penetrated all the way to the spiritual world, where it reached the heart of Krishna himself. And thus, by the power of the love of compassion of Sri Advaita Acharya, the Supreme Personality of Godhead made his descent. At the time in Navadvip Dham, Jagannath Mishra and Satyamata, they very much wanted to have children to raise in Krishna consciousness. Jagannath Mishra was the avatar of Kashyapa Muni in his previous birth, where he gave birth to Kapila Dev. He was Dasarath, where he gave birth to Lord Sri Ram. He was Vasudev and Nanda Maharaj, the father of Krishna, and his wife, of course, Satyamata. As Devahuti, she gave birth to Kapila Dev. As Kausalya to Ram, as Devaki to Krishna, as Yasoda, she cared for Krishna. It is that same eternal associates of the Lord who appeared as Jagannath Mishra and Sachi Devi. They had 8 daughters, but each of these daughters died just after their birth, while they were still in their infancy. Therefore, the parents, they were very sad, and they prayed to the Lord and performed worship, asking the Lord that if it is his desire, please grant them a son. And by the Lord's supreme arrangement, a beautiful son appeared in the womb of Sachi Devi. He was a direct expansion of Lord Nityananda Balaram. Just as Lord Balaram appeared in the womb of Devaki to prepare the womb to be a suitable place for his beloved master Krishna, Balaram is always the servant of Krishna. Balaram is the original personality, original spiritual master, because he is the original servant of the Lord. Although he is the Lord himself, it is the duty of the spiritual master to make all the arrangement and preparations for Krishna to come within the hearts of his disciples and within the world in general. Lord Nityananda Prabhu is none different than Lord Balaram. He himself expanded himself as Vishwarup to enter into the womb of Sachi Devi. And on a most auspicious time, Vishwarup was born. He was endowed with all auspicious and virtuous qualities. He was a vine of the treasure of good qualities and attributes. When Vishwarup was born, Sachi Devi and Jagannath Mishra became so grateful to Krishna that they expanded their worship to their Damodar Shalagram Shila at home. Srila Prabhupada explains that this is the difference between material worship and spiritual worship. Materialistic people worship the Lord when they are in distress, and when they are relieved from the distress, they feel that there is no more need for such worship of the Lord. But the devotee of the Lord relieves his distress. When the devotee gets relieved from his distress, and the Lord gives some benediction, Then out of deep gratitude, the devotee increases his service. Then a wonderful thing took place. Original personality of Godhead, Krishna, in the month of Magh of 1406, Sakha era, entered into the heart of Jagannath Mishra. Jagannath Mishra had a wonderful vision. He saw the entire spiritual world enter into his heart. And then he experienced how that same spiritual abode was transferred from his heart to the heart of Sachi Devi. And then it entered into Sachi Devi's womb. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, he did not appear like an ordinary living entity in this world. Karmana and Devina Netrena, because of past karmas, we enter into a particular type of semen, and the father injects that semen into the mother, and then it starts to develop in the womb, into an embryo. The Supreme Lord simply appeared by his divine grace within the heart, and he was transferred from the heart of Jagannath Mishra into the heart of Sachi Devi, and then the child began to develop within her womb. And Sachi Mata became effulgent like Goddess Lakshmi. She was astounded. Sometimes she was astounded, Sachi Mata, because she would hear beautiful celestial songs of Gandharvas, Apsaras, and demigods singing the glories of her son. Sometimes she would see celestial beings in the air offering prayers to the child in her womb. Sometimes mysterious people would come to Jagannath Mishra and bring him all kinds of auspicious gifts. These two parents were filled with transcendental bliss. The child remained within the womb of Sachi Devi for 13 full months. The parents became worried about when will the child be delivered. They approached Nilambara Chakravarti Thakur, who was a very great learned devotee and astrologer. And he explained that very soon this most illustrious of all personalities who is in your womb is going to appear. He is simply waiting for the most auspicious possible moment to come into this world. During the month of Phalgun, in the year of 1407, Sakha era, Lord Brahma and all the Devatas were making all arrangements within the material nature to welcome the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the Supreme Master, the Lord of the Universe, into this world. It was on the full moon night, Kaviraj Goswami, he explains, when the spotless moon of Sri Gaura Chandra was about to appear. What is the use of a moon with so many spots on it? Thinking like this, Rahu planets followed up the moon. So it was a full lunar eclipse when the Lord appeared. People in India are very afraid of lunar eclipses because of the inauspicious conditions that it can create. So on this particular eclipse, the Lord, in the heart of everyone, he induced everyone to go to the river Ganges and loudly chant the holy names of Lord Shri Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. In all directions, nothing could be heard but the names of Krishna being chanted. Even the atheists were chanting the holy names of Krishna. Even the Muslims, upon seeing all the Hindus so loudly chanting and chanting, even they started to chant the holy names of Krishna. When the devotees headed by the Vedacharya and Srivas Thakur and Haridas Thakur saw this, they were so happy. Finally, everybody is chanting Hare Krishna. May this eclipse never end. May this eclipse go on eternally. May everyone continue for the rest of their lives to be chanting the holy names of Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. It was at that time that the Lord was inducing everyone to chant the holy names, when the whole world was immersed in Harikatha, Harinam Sankirtan, that the Supreme Lord, the essence of all avatars, the most merciful of all incarnations, appeared in this age of Kali. In the beautiful land of Navadvip, Lord Gaura Chandra appeared from the womb of Sachi Mata, just as the brilliant sun appears on the eastern horizon to dispel the darkness of ignorance in this age of Kali. Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai! Vrindavan Das Thakur, he says that this holy day of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance is the holiest of all holy days. It is the supreme of all holy days. Gaura Purnima Tithi is worshipped by Brahma and Shiva and Sukadev and Narada and all the great personalities. Throughout the creation, they worship this Gaura Purnima day. He explains that there's two supremely most auspicious and holy days. One is the appearance day of Lord Nityananda Prabhu, which we have just celebrated 1 month ago, who appeared in the month of Magh during the Shukla Trayodasi, and the other is the Gaura Purnima, the appearance day of Lord Chaitanya. Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur emphatically explains that anyone who celebrates these two festivals and worships the Lord with great sincerity and devotion, and on these two most auspicious holy days, will certainly become an intimate associate of the Lord and join his eternal kirtan of the holy names Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So everybody will become very fortunate today. In Chantipur, Advaita Acharya Haridas Thakur saw so many auspicious signs in the atmosphere when the child Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was born. The devotees came to the place of Sachimata to perform various rituals for the child, and the demigods' wives, they came disguised as Brahmins to give gifts and benedictions to the child. The wife of Srivas, Malini, the wife of Chandrasekhar Acharya, Malati came together to perform various rites and customs and rituals according to the tradition, offering Sita Thakurani with wonderful gifts and many blessings to offer to the child. When Sita Thakurani saw this beautiful newborn child, she could immediately understand that Gopal of Vrindavan has descended into this world in the form of this beautiful child with the golden complexion. And then Milambara Chakravarti was invited. He was the astrologer. He performed all the calculations, the horoscope ceremony. And when he read the horoscope, he was simply struck with wonder, and he confirmed what Sita Thakurani understood, that this boy was none different from Gopal Vrindavan. And there are many wonderful stories of this after the wonderful pastimes, childhood pastimes of the Lord, but since we are time restricted, we can just mention a few. Like he had a pastime that he was crying many times, and he always stopped crying when those who were around him started to chant Hare Krishna. That was one of his pastimes. So he was in that way already as a child. He was engaging in this Harinam, getting everybody to chant. He always smiled when everybody was chanting, and if they were not chanting, he was crying. Once some thieves came and they tried to carry him away because he had some beautiful jewels and he was so effulgent. And the Lord Chaitanya was taking a tour. He was enjoying the tour, and he bewildered the thieves. They were thinking that they're going away and they're going to take the jewels away from him in some secret place. But they got lost, and then they brought him back to the same place. And then Sachimata and Jagal Misa saw, "Oh, thank you, you brought back our son. We thought he was lost." So in that way, the thieves there. But he enjoyed riding on the shoulders of the thieves in that way. Once also Lord Anantadev came as a snake, and Lord Chaitanya was coiled up in his lap, and he was having a pastime like that. So many pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as a child. We don't have time to go into it, but at least now we have spoken about his appearance on this most auspicious day of his appearance today. So I will end here. Now we will go to the next part of the program, which is Abhishek. Thank you very much, and Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, which is Abhishek. Thank you very much, and Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Hari Bol.
Keshava Madhava Prabhu ki jai.
Arati, yes, we have Arati and then Abhishek.